PNG Subtitle Maker is an After Effects script that allows you to generate PNG files from an SRT file. It also generates an XML file that makes it easy to integrate your images into your editing software. To show you how it works, I'm already going to do a quick demo on Adobe Premiere Pro. Next, we'll go into more detail about how it works. In Premiere Pro, I start by exporting my subtitles to SRT format. In After Effects, I open the PNG Subtitle Maker script. I start my actions upwards and end downwards. I'm loading my SRT file. It is very important to determine the frame rate of our project, because the XML files generated are used to resynchronize our exports in the timeline. The frame rate must be kept the same throughout this procedure. Here I'm working in 25 frames per second. I have a lot of compositions in my project, but only one appears in my drop-down menu. This is because only the compositions present in the template folder appear. If I slip in another composition and refresh, there are now 2 compositions. Of the 2, I have a slightly more sophisticated model. I think I'm going to use that one. In my composition, I only have one text layer. I can assign all my subtitles to it like this. A summary is displayed below. If I had multiple lines like in this template, I'm refreshing the list to show you. In my template, I have my 2 text layers that appear in my menu. I can, for example, assign my first line of subtitles to my layer 1 and my second line of subtitles to my layer 2. When I generate my files, it used my first line of subtitles to fill my text layer 1 and my second line of subtitles to fill my layer 2. And if I don't have second lines, it's made an empty text layer. I'm erasing all of that. To remove my template from the list, I move it outside of the template folder. So, I want to use this one. It may have several lines, but it only has one text layer. I'm applying all of my lines to this text layer. I'm working on Adobe Premiere Pro. I don't forget to check Create XML for Premiere Pro. A FCPXml file and a Premiere Pro compatible XML file are generated, as well as a folder with all my subtitles in PNG format. To integrate them into my editing, nothing could be simpler. I'm going to create a new bin. I can import a file by double-clicking in an empty area of my project window. I choose the XML file. It automatically imports all my PNG and create a timeline. This timeline shows my PNGs placed at the right timecode. I'm closing this sequence. I go back to my edit. I select the destination track and the source track. I'm careful that this option is unchecked. I drag the imported timeline into my source viewer. I put an endpoint at the beginning source viewer. I also put an endpoint at the beginning of my sequence. I click on Override and I see that all of my subtitles are placed automatically. All I have to do now is turn off the original subtitle track. It's as simple as that. Let's go further on the use of this script. To do this, I switch to another software, Final Cut. In Final Cut, I already have a project with subtitles. I'd like this edit to be in vertical format. It couldn't be easier. I'm duplicating the project. In the settings, I change the size. Now I need to create the right subtitles for the vertical format. I start by exporting my subtitles. I'm going to start from an empty After Effects project. When I import my subtitles, a message pops up telling me that there is no template available. A template folder is created automatically, so I can drag my templates into it. I start by creating a composition in vertical format. In 1080 by 1920. In my composition, I'm going to create objects and a text box. Add color. I can also add effects. Once my template is ready, I refresh the list. It's still not in my template folder. I must drag it into my template folder. My template and text layer appear in the menus. I apply all my subtitles to my text layer and render it. In Final Cut Pro, I turn off my subtitles and import my fcpxml file. Like before, it creates a timeline with the PNG files. I select everything. Copy. I stand at the beginning of my edit and paste it as a connected clip. I realize that the text in my template is not very pretty. No problem. I will adapt it. I can change the size of the font. It kept all my settings. I just have to regenerate. He asks me if I want to delete everything, both the XML and the folder that contains the PNG. I go back to Final Cut and it updated automatically. Now let's do the same thing for Vinci Resolve. I'm going to use a template that's already been used. I received an SRT file from a translation company to subtitle my film in Arabic. With right to left writing, my model is not suitable. The first thing to do is to tell him that my text reads from right to left. You have to go to Paragraph and select this option. Then everything works as usual. I apply my subtitle to my text layer. I don't need to create an XML file for Premiere Pro. In Vinci Resolve, I can import my timeline. Be careful, it's not the media from XML that I want to import. It's a timeline. I'm going to get my FCPXML that I just created. As before, he created a timeline with my PNG files at the right timecode. I can now come and drag it to the beginning of my timeline, right-click, break down this nested timeline and find my subtitles properly placed. If you need to make animated subtitles, let me introduce you to Motion Subtitle Maker. For example, if I have to make a vertical format with this animation, nothing could be simpler. In the same way, I drag it into template. I open my subtitle file of my vertical edit. I'm refreshing my list. I don't forget to specify the frame rate of my edit. I can change the size of my composition by going to Parameter to switch it to the vertical format. Once everything is good, all I have to do is generate my compositions by defining a destination like earlier and then launching my rendering. Everything works just like for PNG files. I'm importing the FCPXML. I copy the elements. I go back to my timeline. I place my playhead at the beginning. I paste as a connected plan. There you have it. If you want animated subtitles, check out Motion Subtitle Maker. It is available on aescript.com.